Obviously, the user could contact the hotel directly, but perhaps the user wants to get some comparative rates at a number of hotels in Port Elizabeth. So the user accesses a hotel search service, and I believe I do have a point somewhere there. Okay? That hotel service is located independently. It doesn't matter where that service is located. And that service then invokes a back-end service which is supported by a travel agent. So the whole thing is user-driven. The service is actually invoked by the user via a graphical user interface, and that service is using another back-end service. So you can compose services into applications, or you can have them as freestanding services. Now, what we are saying is web services support interaction using different devices. And the reason they do that is that the architecture supports the complete separation of the user interface or presentation layer from the underneath layer. So you can actually build different user interface layers depending on whether this application is running across a mobile device, which type of mobile device, Apple iPhone, smartphone, Nokia, Symbian operating system, a laptop, or a desktop. Okay? And we are removing the burden of developing multiple URLs. So by using technology such as XML, the service, the actual functionality is written once, and then the user interface gets generated for the different platforms. That's the idea. Mobile 2.0, that's where we headed. Okay? It's a natural progression from ubiquitous computing, and again you'll notice the very strong user perspective, right? The users want services, they don't want applications, and you'll start to see the blend. It doesn't matter whether the service is something that the municipality provides or the telecommunication supplier provides. It's a value-added services. But there's a whole era of new types of services. There are social and emotional communication with things like Facebook and LinkedIn. There are pervasive games that people can play in collaborative virtual environment, virtual reality, and there's mobile media. Now, how do we do these things? A lot of these things are reusing what we call context-aware computing. And context is one of those things that's very difficult to define. What is context? But the simplest way we normally define context is in terms of a time, a date, and a place. So I'm in a particular context, I'm here at this particular point in time. Now you may say, well, is time and location sufficient? Not always, because it depends on my task. So I'll show you just now how we need to create user profiles, and we can actually keep them on the cloud as well, of what the user is doing in a particular context, and build intelligence into those user profiles. And the whole point is here is to make the development of mobile applications easier. Right? We all know that a large percentage of our population are using mobile phones. It's a platform that is affordable and is accessible. However, too much time is spent developing mobile applications or redeveloping it for different platforms. Adaptive user interfaces, if you haven't come from a sort of human-computer interaction background, is coming from the other side. So we're saying, why should the users adapt to every new piece of software you give them? Why shouldn't the software adapt to the users? Okay? The idea being that you can provide location-based services for a user, because just about every mobile device, I don't have my mobile phone with me at the moment, has a built-in GPS, right? Mobile devices are coming with more and more sensors. Now you can access that sensor information and communicate it again across the web, right? Now what you can do is, if you keep a customer profile or user profile either on your mobile device for speed of access or somewhere as a service in the cloud, you get to learn more about this particular user. So then you can find that the service becomes user requested and it becomes proactive activating. So the user gets it when the user wants and how the user wants it. All right? You probably all dealt with the concept of a recommender system. If you shop online at Amazon.com and Kalahari.net, it recognizes that you've been there before. It realizes, keeps a record of what you purchased before, and it says, by the way, there's so many new CDs in this particular jazz category you might be interested in. Or it tells you people who bought CD ABC also bought CD XYZ. Now that kind of concept is what we're talking about with user profile. So it's monitoring user behavior to provide them with information when they need it and how they need it. So it will determine the context and say, should I push this information out on a mobile device? Should I push it out in the form of an SMS? What is the right type of communication channel to use? What are we doing at NMU? Now, I'm sorry, I didn't take a record when I started. I've got about 5 or 10 minutes more. Okay? No one stop me. As I said, I'm head of the Center of Excellence, which is funded by Telkom. Our unit, there are 3 units, 2 in physics and 1 in computer science and information systems. We are very fortunate to have had Dimension Data as our sponsors for many years. And I'm also a THRIP grant holder. That, if you don't know, is the DTI initiative, Department of Trade of Industry, Technical and Human Resources for Industry program. And what our current project is you can see there's an investigation into building intelligent tools and techniques to support service utilization, and especially for service-oriented architectures. So we're looking at this for several facets. Our basic premise is that intelligent user interfaces can optimize the benefits of SOAs by providing interfaces in the form that people need them and providing them with customized, personalized interfaces. And we've got several research postgraduate projects. In fact, I think we've got about 10 at the moment on the project. I'm just going to show you a little bit, a teaser of a few of them. We're always looking for more industry partners. So please, if you're from an industry and you're excited by any of these projects, please contact me. This is one by Anil Sengo, who's an MSc student with us from Malawi. And what he's building is a model that leverages service-oriented architectures to deliver application user interfaces to users, based on the premises I'm talking about. So the user interface is delivered dynamically, based on what the service actually needs. So we look at the interface of the service and dynamically generate a user interface depending on the type of platform that the user is invoking that service from, whether it's mobile or desktop. He's a second-year MSc student. Ryan Hill is also a second-year student. He's actually an M-Commerce student. And he's looking at adaptive interfaces for, particularly with 2010 coming up, mobile tourist guides. And what he's trying to do is keep a user profile of what the user is actually interested in doing, and then suggest those little icons over there are points of interest in different categories based on the user profile. So the user likes to stay 4 or 5-star hotels in a particular area and likes to eat Italian food. And then it will do suggestions based on that, and that's some collaborative work with the Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism Office. Okay. Another master student, Felix Ntwanga, is working on customer profiles. On the one hand, he's building up the user interface, adaptive user interface. This is to see how we can provide personalization. So he's building a dynamic customer profile. Ryan's approach is to store the user profile on the mobile device, because we're not presuming that that mobile device owner has access to anything else. And we're trying to minimize that. With Felix's approach, he's trying to store that customer profile as a service in the cloud, so that it can be accessed from anywhere, via a desktop or via a mobile interface. Meredith Barnes is a new MSc student, and I'm glad we've got one lady amongst all our students. We need more.